Capricorns, welcome back to the Astroflower for your energy reading for the week going from the 15th to the 21st of September. How you doing? Messages from Energy was all about sort of like becoming a multi-dimensional person or spirit. And it's working, when you start working with energy, you start working on different planes at the same time. So energy permutates everything. It's emotional, it's physical, it's metaphysical and spiritual, as it were. And I think here is that idea of working on multitudes of different dimensions, the access is through energy. And I think this could possibly to do with that shift in consciousness that I've been talking about over the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks, maybe last month, in fact. And that's that anticipation within the energies, that we were talking about, the messages from energy, which comes out on Wednesday. The other thing as well that came out, messages from energy, was all about the elements of earth and water, because we're coming back to that transition again after the fire that came through. I do think there's going to be some solar flares that are going to be coming in around about this sort of, I would have thought around about the 19th through to the 19th through to the 24th, and I think that could be the catalyst. That's what lights the touch paper, as it were, as lights the fuse of the shifting consciousness. And it has to do something to do with the solar eclipse at the same time. So there's a lot going on at the moment, and sometimes we can feel overwrought by the situation, as we said within the message from energy. Yeah, we've got the live coming out of the weekend. I have got a couple of questions, I think, to answer this week here. So if you do have questions that you want answering through channeling, please put them in the comment section, and we will channel you an answer next week. Okay. In the meantime, let's just see what's going on with your connection to energy, or the messages from energy, and your chakra sequencing, following by some tarot cards. Okay. So let's just connect to the energy at the moment. It's very powerful for you, Capricorn. Very powerful for you. Okay, so I think there's a very strong emotional desire for life to be passionate. For you to sink your teeth into something, and that could be as much as a relationship, as much as a job or a business or a project, whatever it is. There's a desire to to take something to a much greater level, and it's an emotional desire as well. It's not necessarily a physical one. It's an emotional desire, an engagement in life that seems to be coming through, because we've got a lot of water, and we've also got a lot of fire within the general energies that's flowing around. You can see this spike, or this division of energy as well that goes on there, that keeps coming back. And I think that's got to do with the conscious shift. It's like a lightning rod, or yeah, it's like a lightning rod that literally just sort of like creates a massive light bulb moment for everybody. But that, for you, Capricorn, it's all to do with the emotions and the passions of life. Okay, let's just see if we get a vision for the general energy as well. Let's just see what's going on for you, Capricorn. Here we go. I get this sensation of how you feel. What is important seems to be how you feel, not necessarily about the situation, but how you feel about the moment. Because it's not how you feel about a person. It's not how you feel about your job. It's how you feel about life. It's like your values are not what they used to be. And you've got a different type of engagement between you and life. and it seems to be emotionally driven here. And I almost get like sort of saying, you know, I've done my work. You know, I'd like to see a lot of progress, and it feels that energy is trying to encourage that as well within your life. Sort of major progress, as if like sort of yeah, it's an anticipation of realization that you're waiting upon here, and with a heavy emotional engagement more than anything else in the general energies. There was this thing about a river as well. I think this is maybe that's to do with the relationship side. It's like a river of love as well. That sort of you're waiting. You're waiting for something, whereas I think energy is encouraging you to not necessarily wait, to put one foot in front of the other and explore and find it. Uh, that's what's coming through on the general energy. Let's just see what's going on the financial sort of side of things. I get like people gambling at a table, but um, Capricorn is sitting there. Doesn't it? It's almost as if like you're not gambling with life anymore, and you know that when you're going to win and when you're going to lose. So it's like you're getting the cards, and you kind of, without even looking at them, you kind of go, "Oh, no, not playing that hand," and then another hand, you kind of go, "Yeah, that I'm going to play." And without even knowing what the cards are, it's a certain confidence that you're building on a much deeper level in life, and it is yeah, realize recognizing the true value of enjoying life on the financial side. I don't think you're going to waste your time on before. You could stack your plate up with loads of different things here, and I think you're being a lot more patient about it, which is really good for you, Capricorn. There was definitely doors opening for you though, on your financial side, on your job or your business and so forth. And I think that sort of like holding your ground or holding your position is allowing that door to be opening. So rather than just accepting the first job, sort of saying, "Well, I'd like this job, but it doesn't pay quite enough," sort of thing. And when you get that sort of, when you're confronting life like that, I think you're asking other people to do a little bit more sort of reflection than you're having to do. So you're asking people to do, or you're asking businesses or a job or stuff like that to reflect a little bit more about what can you offer Capricorn. And I think it's a good negotiating point. It's not like, oh, we're Capricorn, we're the best in the world. Obviously we are. No. But it's not that sort of attitude. It's just the attitude sort of saying, I know. Therefore, I don't need to even prove it anymore. You know what I mean? I don't need to justify myself. That's the feeling I'm getting of it. To enjoy life. And I think you're asking a lot now of the material world, as if to sort of say, come on, I've stepped up to the plate. Universe, come and step up, sort of scenario. Let's see what's going on the relationship side of life. You don't want complications. It seems like you've had to deal with the complications with the world in general or with life in general, but also complications maybe with a partner and so forth. That you know, it's you no longer want to be that motor because you seem to be the only. From your side anyway, you seem to be the only one that's doing the work. So it's a little bit frustrating, that sort of side of things. You definitely do want, relationship, you want love, you want that engagement, you want the connection with humans and so forth, sociably, collectively, and community wise. But you don't want to have to, you want to be you, and you can be quite grumpy sometimes, Capricorn. You know what I mean? You can be kind of going, no, I'm just not going out, sort of thing. I get that. You live like a caveman sort of factor. You like living in a cave and like a bit like a hermit. If the hermit card should definitely be a Capricorn card. I'm not sure if it is actually, but it definitely should be a Capricorn card. And it's a feeling of sort of like kind of sort of saying, I'd love to be in a relationship, but I don't want to have to be the one that does all the work. That's the sensation you get from it. What's the solution that you can do? Okay, so taking people on taking a partner or friends and family, community, expressing your happiness of what makes you happy. So it's almost as though it's like you're doing like a stand in the market, like a cake cake stand or a patisserie stand in the market, and you kind of go, oh yeah, I make these cakes, I make that cakes, whatever takes your fancy and stuff like that, and allowing people to come to you to interact with you in a way that is not only gives them satisfaction but gives you satisfaction as well, because it feels like everybody likes my patisseries, sort of thing. So it's just allowing people to come into your life without you having to try too hard. Let's just see what's going on the sort of spiritual side of life. I get Zeus, or like Thor, or the it's. I think you are creating light bulb moments. I think you're creating this thunderbolt, this lightning bolt. It seems to be that you are doing it spiritually. There's a lot that you're asking of the universe or the world around you in a spiritual sort of sense. And if it's almost like you're sort of saying, well, if you can't step up to the plate, you can't do it. You can't do it. What do you want me to do? You're not, if spiritually, if we're not good enough, we're not good enough. What do you want? It's that sort of attitude, and I think you're right in a way, in the spiritual sort of sense. I think it's time to put a bit of pressure on the world to sort of say, hey, look, I'm doing my work from my side. Where's the results from the collective, please? And you seem to be doing that in multitudes of different areas here, because emotionally, you seem to be engaged in it. It's not just physically, it's not just mentally. It's also sort of like spiritually. It's also sort of like energetically, religiously in a way. Karmically in a way. Seems to be a really good engagement for you. Okay, let's just see what's going on with the chakra sequencing. Okay, so just connecting to that energy again, finding that 0 point. There it is there. Okay, so we've got the central point there, we've got the crown and the root. Both crown and root, very calm, relaxed, also still taking a back seat. This seems to be very connected to when we get earth and water energies that are flowing through, that we talk about on the messages from energy. It seems to make the raison d'être of self, of your karmic path, or your spiritual path, or your physical path, whichever way you look at it. It's like that side of things is for you, it's obvious what should be happening and where it should be going. It's waiting for the rest of the world to kick in. So and for you, the crown and the root, there is no real sort of like doubt or confusion within you. And that is true for a lot of signs. It's got to be said. Okay. So where does it move on to next? It goes on to the third eye and the throat chakra. Be careful of overthinking things, Capricorn. You know, sometimes you can make things a little bit more complicated than they need to be. You like when it's too easy, you get bored. That's what I think comes out of it more than anything else. I think you got to be careful of that. You got to be careful of creating headaches for yourself within the world. So it's a little bit heavy here on the third eye and the throat chakra because you're trying too hard. Maybe it's a case of just relaxing and not like what happened in the messages from energy with the throat chakra. So the moment I connected and allowed my throat chakra to relax, at that point there, I could see a lot of what was going on a completely different level. All the vibrations sort of changed enormously. And I think this is where, you know, you're one of those signs at the moment that can do that and be really ahead of the curve because you're doing that. Okay. So I would really not overthink things this week. Okay. Where's it moving on to now? It's barreling through you. The energy is really barreling through you. Where's it going on to? It finally settles in the solar plexus, and this is your determination as well. The fire, what's going on there as well? You don't want to suffer fools gladly, and I don't think you need to put up with having to deal with everything and everyone here, Capricorn. I think it's important that everyone also stands on their own 2 feet. So, you know, I think sometimes within the solar plexus, you need to be a little bit courageous to say no. And it's not no because you don't like someone and so forth, but it's no because, you know, it's not your path. It's not part of your path. Being honest with yourself, being honest with the world around you is going to help enormous amounts of people that are around you. Okay? So, where does it move on now from the solar plexus? This comes onto the heart, but it is mixed in with the throat chakra, and I've seen this already on a few signs, on a couple of signs, and it is about sort of expressing your heart's desires, but I think it's expressing the change, and I think this has got to do with that conscious shift as well. It's expressing the heart through the throat chakra, so you can almost express it without even saying words, just by the vibration, just by the air that you carry along with you into the world. And that conscious shift is giving us a major opportunity to start or try things or try to do things generally in a completely different way coming forward. Okay. And then it moves on to the crown and the root. But the heart chakra there, it's welling up. It's not releasing as such, it's explaining rather than releasing. So it's like a safety valve rather than going and releasing enormously. It's just kind of going, you know, gradually in increments is the best way to describe it. So it's helping you to really get in contact with, you know, with the people that really sort of are in line with you. They're in line with your heart as well, and that's probably why you need to express yourself about it all. Okay, so yeah, it went back to the crown and the root after that. So let's just see what's going on. Let's just pull a few cards for you and see what's going on. So let's put one on your financial side and see what's going on there. 9 of Swords. Yeah, woes and worries. You know, this is what I mean about you not having to put up with the woes and worries of the world that is around you. And if you do worry about things, I think you'll come out of the end and kind of go, wow, I didn't really need to worry about that. You know, it's actually, you know, they were unfounded, my worries. And I think it's just where you're no longer taking on the stress and strain of the outside world. where you can, you're engaging in the world in a different sort of sense and getting different sort of returns. So I would stop worrying about the world around you. See what's going on the relationship side. Look at that. You get the 10 of Wands. Heavy week. And I can feel that within the throat and the third eye as well when it plays into that part there. On the relationship side here, as I said, I got a feeling that you just don't want to be the motor anymore for all of this sort of, for relationships. You've already done a lot of things within life for everybody else. But, let me just stop that. So, why carry the world upon your shoulders? Oh, sorry about that, technical issues. Yeah, so with that 10 of Wands, I don't think you don't want to carry the relationship anymore, I don't think. Or you don't want to carry everything. What you feel like you don't want to be carrying everything. I think you're liberating yourself from a lot of stress and strain from the world that is around you at the moment. See what's going on with the general energy. Yeah, 5 of Swords. You're definitely walking away from conflict, confrontations, because it's not your bag anymore. And this is that whole sort of conscious shift that's happening for you. Enormously walking away from sort of woes and worries and complications within life. Basically engaging with your life more than anything else. Okay, let's just have a look and see what's. There was a question here, so that was in the comment section last week, and it was a comment from Linda. Linda Majorful. Is that Majorful? Okay. So, I'll read you what the comment was. Hi, Tom Spotton again. Thank you very much. Lovely. I can share my love of music. So you've met someone that she's met someone who's they share your love of music and nature and art and all of those sort of things. And this person is living in France. Well, great place to be living. And he's selling his house. He is Dutch and he wants to move back to Holland. He cannot buy a house for the price he is getting for his place in France. So price is a lot more expensive in Holland than they are in France. Would it be a simple solution to let him live with me? I want to keep my independence financially and want to keep a little me time. Is it a good solution? I have doubts about living together. Okay, so let's have a look. So what we do is we just sort of, there you go, Linda. Okay, I've got there's Linda and your Dutch friend. Okay, let's just see how they sort of sit together. How much, it'd be interesting to know how much time you've spent with them together. And it may be a case of, maybe going over to France and living with him for a few months before the sale of the house goes through, so then before you take the next move. I think trying things out, and it's strange I was talking about not being the motor for the relationship. I think you definitely need to put yourself in that position in this week here. But I think both of you seem to be very independent as people and don't want to lose your independence. And moving in together, let's just see here. Let me just see. Okay, so I've got that side of thing on the energy. Let me have another look on that side. Is there a particular reason that they're going back to Holland and not maybe even coming to the UK or wherever you are? I don't know where you are. Are you in Holland or are you in the UK or are you in France? I get this thing where you're sort of like, you know, the complicity between you is really strong. And then it's like you're walking on the pathway together, and then there's something that distracts you that makes you walk off that way, and at the same time he's getting distracted by something else. It could well be family, that's making a slight bit of distractions, like kids and so forth. um, but I think that works well with you to actually come together and leave, as it were, come together and leave. But yeah, I think a degree of living together would be a good idea to see how you fit, because you still need to make that connection where it's all in. And I'm not sure neither you or he wants to go all in. Not because you don't feel enough for him, or he doesn't feel enough for you. That's emotionally, I don't think there's not an issue. I think it's more of a case of you know you've also got things you would like to do in your life. And I'm not sure it's like the going all in is like, sometimes there is a certain degree of sacrifice, because there's a compromise on a lot of things when you go all in, especially when you're older. When you're younger, it's more down to just love, isn't it? And if it's just a case of that, if you really sort of like emotionally, you just want to be with him, in that case, go ahead and do it, yes. But I think you're probably going to have to take steps towards him rather than he takes stepping towards you. I think simply because both of you are just standing your ground in a way. Let's just put a card and see what's going on there as well, because there's a lot of complications that go, not complications, a lot of aspects that go along with it, really. And it depends upon a multitude of different things. Yeah, I do think you need to be curious. I think I wouldn't even make a decision before the eclipse on Sunday, because this has got an eclipse on that card there. I would be much more inclined to allow allow yourself to be much more sort of open to exploring what can be between the pair of you, and allowing your heart to be very much more curious about things. But I would retain your independence. Yeah, Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, it's cultivating that connection with him, and I think he's got to cultivate it as well. The pair of you have got to cultivate it, and you've got to choose what you're going to be, what you're creating, rather than just sort of kind of like. I think there's a lot of planning that needs to go into it. Yeah, planning is definitely needs to go into it, but I think for the moment, enjoying the connection, and it could be a case of kind of going, right. In that case, I'm gonna come down to France. I'm gonna live for the next sort of like 2 or 3 months until you sold the house with you. And it's a good way to sort of like then test the waters without anybody, having to commit too much to everything. Um, should he come and live with you? I think that's the only way that it could really happen. If he can't afford a place in Holland, it doesn't appear to be any other way than if he does come with you. And I think that's why it's essential for you to live together for some time before you make that actual decision. A good couple of months where you don't, you're always there together, to give you a good idea of it, if it's working. If you've done that already, then yeah, I would encourage him to sort of you know move in with you, as it were. But it depends on what projects you've got on his side and everything like that. There's a lot of things in play here at the moment, and it's not totally clear. That's why living together or having a trial period would be really good for you. Okay, so yes, there you go. I hope that helps you out. I hope that sort of like gives you a bit of clarity on the situation. Um, should he? I'm not sure he should move in with you though. I'm not sure he should move in with you. if he's moving in with you because financially it's because of financial things, I'm not sure you're going to enjoy that. I think you've got to decide to either do it or not do it together. That's what I feel like you've got to. That's what I feel like is going to happen. Really, more than anything else. There you go, Linda. Yes, thanking everybody else for being here. Thanking you very much for all for the subscriptions, liking, sharing, and all of that malarkey. Don't forget about the live we have at the weekend and the messages from energy. I will speak to you soon. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun. So please do enjoy.